So it is time for my February wrap-up. Now this is the second wrap-up I've done, and I think I've actually read more than last month, so that's great. Overall, I've read 7 books. I aimed for 5.5. I managed to do 7, and technically I picked up 8 and DNF'd 1. So, as we're going through, I will show you exactly what I have done and how many I have read. So, as you will see, I have done 1 0-star book, which is a DNF, and hopefully you remember that one. Then I had no 1 or 2 stars this month. It was actually a very good month for me with regards to my books. I thought they were fantastic books, some of the best reads I've had in a long time. So for my 3-star books, I only had 1, and that was a book that I was meant to mention because I read it in the first week of February, and I kept forgetting to actually bring it up. Every week when I did my weekly vlog, I was like, right, this is what you need to do. You need to remember to mention it, and I never did. And it is a script called Prepare to Meet Thy Tomb, and it's written by Norman Robbins. It is a comedy, or a dark comedy, about a family of people called the Tombs who murder people, basically. And this was a good script, and it's part of a trilogy. I read it mainly because this is the play we're doing in May at my theatre, and I wanted to audition for a part. So I read the script just to see what I thought of it, and I really enjoyed it. I gave it 3 stars. With scripts, I will very rarely give a high star rating. I know the 39 Steps from January did very well, but this one, it was very good, but it loses a bit of story when you read it in script form. It's one of the main reasons I don't like things like Shakespeare. I'm not a fan of reading scripts. But overall, it was a very good story, and I actually got a part, so yay! Okay, 4-star books. This is where the majority was. I read 4 4-star books this month. The first one I will mention is one you have all come to know and love, and hopefully you all will think, please never mention it again. And it will hopefully be the last time I ever mention it. The Goldfinch. Yes, I know I included it in January's as part of the books I read, but I did only include it as a half. I finished it. I rated it 4 stars. I thought it was a very good book. It just had a couple of issues, namely the overuse of description. It was great to start off with the book, but then as the book progressed and more action came into it, more characters, it just became unnecessary. And towards the end I was thinking, I need to just finish this book for the sake of finishing now because I don't want to carry on. But overall, I really did enjoy the book, so 4-star rating for me, and very well deserved. Hopefully, I don't think I'm ever going to read it again. I really don't think I'm ever going to read it again. But I did enjoy it. Please make sure to check out my review for it, and also my book to movie comparison video, because that was interesting. Okay, the next book I read, which was 4 stars, was the short read that I did this month. You know I had to get one in, so I read 113 minutes. Now, initially, this was going to be a 3-star for me because I enjoyed it. I just felt it was very different to what I expected. I'm going to read you the blurb so you know where it's coming from. I know who killed my son. Molly Rourke's son has been murdered, and she knows who's responsible. Now she's taking the law into her own hands. Never underestimate a mother's love. So, when I read that, my initial assumption was that it's going to be a revenge story for somebody that killed her child. And it was, in a way. It was a long plan. It was a big game plan. And the story took us through this game plan in a way I really didn't expect it to go. So, I initially was a bit taken aback because I expected so much of a different storyline that never actually came, so I was a bit like, oh, I'm not sure where I'm at with it, but it was really good. Then there was 2 significant twists in the book. One of them I guessed, and I was so proud of myself for guessing it. The other one I didn't guess, and that is what bumped it up to a 4 because I was like, oh, it shocks me. It really did. So, overall, fantastic book, would definitely recommend. Considering it's a short book, it was really good. Okay. My next one, the other James Patterson, The People versus Alex Cross. Now, everyone knows I love Alex Cross, everyone knows I love James Patterson. I feel as though it holds such a special place in my heart, and it was a great story from start to finish. It was really good. didn't really take issue with anything. I thought it was a great book because it got to show a good dynamic. The only thing I perhaps wanted more of, again, not really an issue, but something I just wanted more of, was the fact that it was the People versus Alex Cross. It was based on his trial. The trial ended fairly quickly, and I felt as though really I wanted more of the trial. But that was really it. I'm not going to go into a lot of details about these books because you'll have seen them all through my weekly vlog, so it just seems a bit pointless. So, the last 4-star book, and it was a great read, I finished it yesterday, Carrie by Stephen King. Now, this was my first Stephen King book. I will be doing a dedicated review to it. That'll be up at some point this week. But I thought it was a really good book. I wasn't sure because it's one of Stephen King's first books, and I don't really like reading the first books by authors because I think they're still finding the feet. It's not really right to read the first book and judge whether you like an author based on that. But it was a very good book. It was a very good story, and it was different because I've seen a couple of movie adaptations, and they had significant differences. There had a lot of similarities, but significant differences, and I really did enjoy the book overall. It was a great book, so I'm really happy with it. I really was. I thought it was great. Can't complain. It was more of a... Gonna be honest, this was more of a 3.5 rating than a 4 because I thought it was really good. It just, for the first half of the book, was very middle of the pack. So I didn't really know where to rate it. And then the ending kind of did really good. Not enough, I think, to give it a 4-star, but definitely a 3.5. But for the sake of my Goodreads ratings and my ratings, because they don't do 0.5s, I just decided bump it up to a 4 because it was definitely more than a 3. So that's where I did. And to be honest, I'm not that fussed. I really did enjoy it, and I'm glad because I do love reading new authors, and I really want to read Stephen King, so I'm happy with a 4-star rating. Now, my 5-star ratings, you should hopefully know all about them. The first one is In an Instant, and this was a fantastic book. It is an ARC book, due for release on the 1st of March, so it's actually due soon, guys. So please, honestly, I don't recommend books that often. I would recommend buying this. I'm hopefully buying a printed version because I do want to own a copy of it. And it was such a touching story. It was emotional, it was touching, it put me through all of the feelings. And then at the end, it actually gives you a bit of a story from the author about a real life situation that inspired the story. And that made me cry even more. I cried so much throughout the book. Fantastic book. The only thing I can tell you about it, about a girl that dies, she's caught between worlds, and she has to experience the immediate effects of her death and the event that led up to her death. She has to experience how her family are dealing with that and how it tears them apart and brings them together, and honestly, phenomenal. Great book. So, for my last 5-star book, The Host. Now, if you've seen my review of The Host, you will know exactly why I love this book. I went on a long spiel about it, not going to go on another one. I will be doing a book-to-movie comparison of this at some point in the future. Not in too much of a rush to get that done, but I really did enjoy this book. I can't recommend this enough because maybe I only enjoyed it because I expected so little from it, because from the author of Twilight, you just expect Twilight. And whilst it had elements of that in there, it was very different. And overall, I really liked it. I thought it was great. Again, I'm not going to go on a big spiel about it. I've already done big spiels. If you want to know how I feel about this, please check out my review. Honestly, it will give you everything you need to know in there because I went on and on about it. So, you will also see a variation of genres that I read this month. I read one script, a drama, a sci-fi, a literary fiction, 2 thrillers, a horror, a comedy, and a romance. Now, the script and comedy are both Prepare to Meet Thy Doom. It was a mix of genres, so I decided just put them in for each one. So, overall, you will see there are more genres than books, but there are a couple that mix. For example, Goldfinch, drama. Sci-fi and romance was the host. Literary fiction was In an Instant. Horror, Carrie. And if I've missed them, oh, the two James Pattersons with the thrillers. I have the notes below me, that's why I'm looking down. So, I read quite a lot of genres this month, but I'll talk more about that later when it comes to my goals that I set for myself at the start of the year. Also, I decided it would be quite interesting for me to note down, because one of the main things I want to do is vary how I read books, because I love a physical book, and I have arguments with people all the time about whether a Kindle or a book is better. I personally am on the side of a physical book is better. I'm not a fan of a Kindle, I'm not a fan of ebooks, I really don't like them. I only use them for convenience, more than anything else. So, this month I read 6 physical books, and I read 2 ebooks? 2, yeah, well, 2. I read 1 ebook, and then I had the other one. I didn't tell you about the DNF. Oh no. Maybe I did. I don't know. We'll see. If I've told you about the DNF, then I'm going to cut this bit out. So, my first 0-star rating was Wuthering Heights. I really didn't like that book. I got not even halfway through. I had 100 pages till I reached halfway on the ebook, not in the physical copy, but it just really wasn't for me. I wasn't enjoying it. I didn't really like the writing style. I definitely don't think I've mentioned this. Yeah, I didn't like the writing style. Just did not enjoy it overall. It wasn't a great experience, and I didn't want to force myself into reading a book that I wasn't enjoying. So I made sure to DNF it and picked up another one. I picked up other books, and I read In an Instant on an ebook as well, so it kind of just switched out for that. That was it. I read In an Instant because that wasn't on my TBR. So yeah, I read 1 ebook, but the additional one that I did try to read was there, and I want to include that in my stats because really I don't really do ebooks that often, so it seems important to get that in there. I read 0 audiobooks because I hate audiobooks. There's nothing against them. I've tried them. They just really don't work for me. I don't understand. I end up getting really lost when I try and listen to them. But I do want to continue trying. I've listened to 3 and I enjoyed the stories, but it felt like a struggle for me to actually get through the books. So I'm going to keep trying, but not for me. And I actually didn't get any out from the library this month. I did try. There was one I really wanted to get out, but then I forgot. Oh, they're going to be mad at me. I requested that book as well. Oops. They had it on hold for me and I didn't go and get it. Never mind. But I really want to start using the library because there's so much going around. If you don't use the library, they're going to shut down. And I love my library. I think it's great. The issue is my library has borrow books where I can get the books via ebook. And it's a lot easier than me going to the library. So, yeah, it's harder. But I am going to try and get books out from the library. If I don't own the book, instead of purchasing the book, I will go to the library. If they have it as an ebook version that I can buy, we'll try and go to the library. It's just making sure that I think of books that I can use as part of my library. When I'm doing my TBRs, I tend to just choose books that I own. So I need to make a conscious decision to go to the library more, and that's something I want to do and something I'm going to keep trying to do. So we'll see. I am definitely going to try do it though, because I am passionate about going to libraries. I love going to the library. So now, while we are here, let's talk about my goals. So, for my goals, I had that I wanted to read a mix of genres. And as I've said and shown you, I did read quite a lot. I had the Goldfinch for the drama, In an Instant for the literary fiction, the Prepared to Meet Thy Doom for the comedy and the script, The Host for the romance and the sci-fi, Carrie for horror. I did have a wide variety. Again, not included thrillers on this list because I read a lot of thrillers, so it's not really a mix of genres for me. Maybe by the end of the year I'll add thrillers on because I will hardly read thrillers anymore. We'll see. Now, with regards to my book challenge, I said last month that I was including The Goldfinch as my plus 500 book. But I have moved that over now to my Bildungsroman, which was part of the book challenge. And I moved that over because I read The Host, which was well over 500 pages. I think it was just about 600 pages. So I moved that over. In an Instant works with my book challenge. in an instant was a book published in 2020. Now, it's definitely published in 2020. It's not even out yet. It's out next week. Get it. Or is it this week? Oh, it's out this week. No. It's out at some point. I think it is this week, actually. Sunday. Yeah. So, get it. It's very good. Now, The People vs. Alex Cross is the second book in my 2 books by the same author. Last month I read Out of Sight. This month I did The People vs. Alex Cross. So that is now ticked off. The Host is my plus 500 pages books, which I have done. And then Carrie is a book that has been adapted into a movie. So they count. Again, if you want to see the full list of challenges that my friend did, it is a challenge of 20 books that you have to read through the year 2020, and that is on my Instagram. I will put a link below. Please make sure you check that out. It'd be great if you could actually be involved in that. You are all more than welcome to. So yeah, check that out. Now, my last goal was to do the James Patterson books, and I have. I did 113 minutes, and then I did The People vs. Alex Cross. So overall, I'm very much in line with all of my goals. And really, that's it. I read 7 books this month, which is really good for me. I'm going to keep mentioning it because it's something I'm really proud of. I am typically a 2-book-a-month person. It takes me about 2 weeks to get through a book, or it did in the past. Last month I read 5.5. This month I've got through 7, or 6.5 if you want to be pedantic when it comes to the Goldfinch. But yeah, I got through 7 books. I DNF 1, hopefully no more DNFs, and I'm starting my March TBR very, very soon. So other than that, that is all from me. So thank you so much for checking this video out. Make sure you check out my Bookstagram page. I post quite often things on there, but make sure you check out my book challenge because it'd be really good if you wanted to be involved. Please make sure you leave a comment below. Tick the bell so that you always get notified when I'm around, and please subscribe. I love it when you subscribe. And that's pretty much it from me. I post every Monday, Wednesday and Saturday, and I can't wait to see you all in March.